Hi everybody, welcome back to one more video, and before beginning it, no, I'm not crazy about the Vespid kit or the Hetzer itself. There's just a weird story behind it that other modders maybe understand and agree with, or not. Actually, I don't really care. But long story short, I managed to lose one of the roll wheels from the Chwat assembly. Yes, I lost it. Probably one of the biggest pieces of the kit, and yet I lost it. And what I did to fix it? Of course I took the hard modeling route. I bought a new kit on Ali, then scavenged the roll wheel I needed, and that was it. Post the video as nothing had happened. And the problem of this method is that in the end you don't solve the main problem at all, because you still have one kit missing one roll wheel. However, now I have enough fuel for a new diorama, but this time I wanted to build it more lightly, if I can say so, basically following the manual. And this time I knew all the tips. For example, I think it's obligatory to substitute the plastic handles by metal ones. Nothing new so far. But one thing that I learned from the previous kit, that I approached differently this time and made my life much easier, was to add some copper wires to hang the side skirts, which is supposed to be glued over small protrusions on the casemate. And that was a real pain in the previous kit. Hanging the side skirts was way easier, but yet you need to be careful because those PE handles are quite flimsy. Besides, I cut the metal plates individually, which increased the detailing in the end. If you are curious of how I managed to solve the wheel problem, well, I copied it using UV resin. Didn't get very good, but I was planning to hide the lack of crispy details with mud. A very smart and lazy move. Try to find it. In the end of this video I will show you each one is the fake one. Now that you know the true motivation to make another one of these kits in a row, aka just because I can't deal with a kit being discarded this way, I also made use of this situation to try a winter camouflage. I made a couple before, but not quite successfully. First I made the summer camouflage with the all three color scheme. Didn't bother to make it impeccable, just some color variation, but really, in the end, it was just a waste of time. I mean the color variation, because the white paint effect just hid the previous one. But moving forward, I gave a good coat of automotive varnish, then 2 coats of scratching effects, proceeded to some Tamiya white mix with a bit of tan earth. Later it was time to scratch, and I mean a lot. At this point I thought that it was just garbage, but I wasn't willing to give up yet. So I cracked open some oils and poured them over the cardboard to suck most of the oil, for it to dry faster. I worked basically with light grays, spreading it over the tank. First in a more even and lighter filter, but later focusing in some areas, doing some stroke movements top to bottom on the casemate sides and circular moves on the roof. These steps took long hours, because the effect was built slowly. To help with the washed and stain effects, I used a moisture brush with spirits, making stroke movements here and there to remove some of the oil paint, revealing a bit more of the underlayer camouflage. The last paint layer was a pure white, that I added trying to make a mapping effect near the lower corners and some other areas. Some further effects were made with streaking grime and other brown oils on areas where I think it would be a nice touch to have some rust stains, even it may not be that correct or real. At this time I was more focused on the painting effect than reproducing a specific vehicle with the reference photos. The Chwat was freshly finished, and I had enough of reproducing pictures from a while, so a more relaxed project is a good call. Now it's time to plane the base. First I wanted to fill this gap in my showcase, and this kit has a perfect size for it. But I need to make it tall though, so the kit wouldn't be hidden between the bigger dioramas. To start I stacked 3 sheets of styrofoam, cut to size with hot wire and softened the sides with speckled and burnt cement layers. After a nice sanding and polishing, I applied a heavy coat of clear automotive varnish. This coat I added only to protect the burnt cement effect, because I used some black and dark gray oils as a filter. In the end, this layer highlighted some cracks on the finished surface, which gave a nice touch to the base sides, at least in my opinion. But let's talk about the snow effect. I used before marble powder sprinkled over the terrain to simulate thin snow layers and mixed with PVA glue for more dense ones. But this time I tried a different material, this speckle-like material used to fill holes in walls that can be found in hardware stores and construction materials. It has an almost dry consistency, but still has some moisture in it. Application is straightforward, just put it over the surface and start to spread with your fingers. Important to say here is that it adheres better with moisture surface, not soaked. I have to say that this is a very versatile material, because it holds the shape, easy to imprint marks, such as tracks, wheels, footprints and so on. So the idea was to place the tank in the middle of an improved dirt road, with some dense and fresh snow on the sides. I just added more and more of this stuff, modeling the terrain. In the end, I found a good method to give the texture of fallen snow by tapping the surface with my fingers, containing some residue of this speckled material. This way, the residue on my fingers gets dry in a rough texture, imprinting this pattern on the freshly laid layers. I also added some dry seafoam twigs and other dry vegetation to the base and to the tank sides. The wire crossing the casemate sides helped to fix them in place. I painted the main path of the road with dark browns and black, leaving some parts with the snow. To give a moisture appearance, I applied some UV resin here and there, where some puddles could happen, and later an irregular coat of semi-matte varnish, lightly applied, just to kill that super shiny look. The figure is a Black Dog 7-second German Panzer crew. I painted it with Vallejo, and later pressed the boots on the snow to make it footprints coming from the back of the tank, as the commander decided to take some fresh air and scan the horizon. But the snow is a bit thick there, so he sunk his boots in it. Last details were to set up the tank on the base, so I speckled some dark browns on the sides and wheels to give a muddier appearance. Also applied the varnish from before, especially on the lower sides, to give the moisture appearance. And over the tracks, wheels and some spots, I added the snow by diluting the speckle-like material with water and applying it with the brush. After dried, it kind of resembled melted snow. Important to say here is that I didn't paint any of the snow. The resultant color is the color of the dried material itself. Some stains are just the result of my idiotic mistakes. And this is the end of this video. In the beginning I didn't intend to record or make a video on this build, but in the end I liked the result a lot and decided to share with you, along with some pictures I took along the way. There are much more to talk about this project, the process and so on, but with the number of pictures I have, I just couldn't. But let me know in the comments if you are interested in this winter camouflage and snow effects. Maybe this gives me some fuel to start another winter diorama. And as promised, this is the fake one, if you didn't notice. And that's it. I hope you like it and see you in the next time. Cheers!